The greatness of the Raiders. Some may scoff, but what other pro sports team is instantly identified with a song like this one?
The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash with a silver hat about his head and a bristling black mustache.
Contracts, what have you. I think you got to consider all that stuff. And, you know, as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm sure we'll sort through some of those things, but do the right thing for the organization as we go forward.
Drive. This has been the 16-play drive for the Raiders. Well, here's a seminal point in the game and maybe the season as the Raiders try to get that first victory. Derek Carr tries to come up with the moment of his young career. First and goal to go 9-yard line. In the shotgun. Carr's going to throw. Pumps. Looks end zone. The Raiders at last have won a football game.
That just says about the fight in this team. To be able to do it, I'm just so happy for my teammates. To see them smile, we're running the ball good, and him come back to the huddle fired up, feeling good about themselves. That's the kind of stuff that fires me up. That was awesome.
This is John Gruden with the Oakland Raiders. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Hey, we just made a trade in the draft. We're going to make you a Raider. You fired up about that?
I'm fired up. Clemson. I like it.
Man, we got a great setup here. We've got a great group of guys coming in this rookie class, and we're on our way here. We just got so much confidence in you as a football player. I just want to let you know we made it. We traded up in the 5th round to get you. Congratulations.
I'm awesome. I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Renfro. Listen, I've been tracking you since before the national championship game a couple years ago when Alabama couldn't cover you. We've been tracking you really closely. We love watching the way you ran routes at the Senior Bowl. We love who you are as a person. We traded up to get you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. That really does mean a lot.
Seriously, here's the deal. We're drafting all these guys with high character that love ball, and you fit into that. Exactly. You fit so much the culture we're trying to develop. I just want you to come in and be you, all right?
I will, yes, sir.
We started off 3-0, and then we lost the next 2 games, and then the Gruden thing happened. Rich Bisaccia came in, was the interim coach. Everyone loved him. Everyone wanted to play so hard for him. We want everyone to be back next year. We want Rich to be back. You know, we cared about our coaches. We cared about our teammates, because when a coaching change happens and a management change happens, a lot of these guys on 1-2 year deal, you don't know how the new coaches are going to like them. And so if I'm a slot receiver and they run 21 personnel a lot, it doesn't fit me. There's no place for you, or you fit a certain scheme or system.
Exactly.
So coaching definitely changes things.
I'm really not into dreams anymore, okay? I'm into fucking nightmares. You guys with me on that? You got to end somebody's dream. You got to take their job. You got to take their heart. Are you guys clear about this NFL shit now?
Commitment to excellence. There's a commitment to excellence. The greatest players. We could get the greatest coaches. The great games we've played in. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win. Is the will to win. Is the will to win.
Your commitment to excellence and your will to win will endure forever. You were magnificent.
But the thing that I like this week, that was better than last week, nobody gave up, so that was huge for us.
The greatness of the Raiders.
Raiders!
Look, Happy holidays, Raider Nation nationwide. Let's go. Get some.
Yo, dude, what is going on? Good morning, Raider Nation. Boom, man. What is up? Fuck. Good morning. Got my coffee. Hot damn, dude. Hot damn. Hopefully you guys are doing good. I'll tell you what. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We'll get to the chat in a minute, man. I woke up. Kind of went to bed somewhat early last night. Took the kids out, did the trick-or-treating thing. Woke up. My homie Jimmy Guns texted me. I thought he was messing with me, but it was weird. Like, I woke up with just a weird sense of peace earlier than I normally do. But yeah, dude, I just woke up and I'm like, I just felt like a thousand pounds of bricks was lifted off my shoulders. And I hadn't even seen the news yet. I didn't hear about it last night or none of that. I heard the news this morning that Josh McDaniels was fired. You're fired. You know what I'm saying? And, man, I think it's a great day in Raider Nation, guys. I did want to be wrong about this. I really did. I wanted the Raiders to be successful. Never want them to lose. But at the same time, at some point you got to call a spade a spade. You got to see what's good for this organization, what's going to be the best thing for us to win a championship. And these guys just weren't cutting it, So there's a few things I want to get into. But just, I am happy. I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely happy that Mark Davis, let's give Mark Davis a lot of respect. It took a lot of gumption, a lot of balls for Mark Davis to step up to the plate and do what was right. And this was the right move. Not an easy move. He'll probably be criticized for it to some degree, but things just weren't working out. And so he could have waited till the end of the season, but he pulled the trigger now and ripped that Band-Aid off, and now we can move forward, right? The season's not done yet. We'll get into the future of the Raiders and the rest of the season, but I just think that, it's an exciting time to be a fan of the Raiders, and I think that the Raider team can now be an official team together, okay? We got rid of the cancer, guys. We really did. So one of the things I want to talk about opening up here, I like to listen to Raider Nation radio. Shout out to Q Myers up in there. And, he had a question yesterday, what do the Raiders need to do to move forward? And I had two options. Both were unrealistic, I'll be honest. So I called in the show. I gave my two scenarios for what this organization needs to win to move forward. And when I get done kind of giving my rant here, if you guys want to come in and go live with me for a minute, give your opinion, I'll put a link in the chat. So stick with me here. So, all right. And then you guys can give your opinion as well. So with that being said, I just got to update. They also fired Mick Lombardi, offensive coordinator. Good. Get Lombardi out of here. That offensive coordinator, wannabe offensive coordinator. And we're going to talk about some of these other coaches that were brought in as well that weren't cutting it. But, I called in the radio station, and my two scenarios were this, guys. One, Raiders need to cut the Band-Aid and get rid of Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. And that we had Champ Kelly, and, we could put the defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, as the, interim head coach. That was option one that I said. Unrealistic. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I was the only guy that said that on the radio. Okay. And then two was, if that's not going to happen, then, Josh McDaniels needs to call up his buddy Tom Brady and beg him to come be a Raider. As much as I don't like Tom Brady, I don't want that option, but I felt like Tom Brady was the only way that was going to save Josh McDaniels' job. Okay. I then woke up with the news that Mark Davis didn't just get rid of Josh McDaniels, but also Dave Ziegler. So let's get into a couple things here. First of all, how is it that our defense that has less talent, right? Our defense has less talent, has progressed, and our offense, who has ton of talent, has degressed with a guy that's won 6 Super Bowls and supposed to be an offensive guru. How is that possible? To have guys like Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, some of the best guys at their positions, if not the best, and we regress dramatically. It's not on the quarterback. When you hear guys that are supposed to be experts or whatever that cover the team, insiders, however you want to put it, and they're, going on there and saying how they're practicing and then what was portrayed on game day, that there's a disconnect. Dude, to me, these players did not want to play for this coach. Like, I think it's possible. I don't know this to be facts, but I think it's possible that these players had their, what I'm going to call the Rudy moment. Maybe some of these players went up to the owner and said, hey, we're not going to play for this coach. We're done, and I think we've seen it by some of the stuff Josh Jacobs said, saying, that's not his job to coach this team and what's wrong with it. And Devontae Adams and his frustration. Okay. Now let's dive into why this did not work. Okay. And then we'll kind of talk about the future and stuff. All right. When McDaniels came on, my opinion, okay, my theory that I can't prove is I believe McDaniels presented Mark Davis with a plan. I believe that plan was to get rid of Derek Carr. Okay. I was ready to move on from Derek Carr. I will admit that. Okay. But mainly because I felt like he should take a pay cut and then we could get more talent around him to win a championship. Because I still think we could have won a championship with Derek Carr. I just think that it wasn't worth the kind of money he was wanting, but that's neither here or there. So I believe that McDaniel and Ziegler's plan was to get rid of Derek Carr, bring in Tom Brady, and we have a chance to go running for a Super Bowl this year in Vegas. Okay. Obviously that plan went awry, and this coaching staff, or the coaching staff that was also brought on, let's consider this. A lot of the coaches that were brought on weren't proven at their positions. Look at guys that like Gruden had brought on, and even Jack Del Rio. Let's just look at the offensive line, right? When Jack Del Rio was our coach, we had Mike Tice as our offensive line, coordinator, offensive line coach. And Mike Tice was, he was a head coach. He was very, very well respected, and we made a pretty dang good offensive line. You look at Gruden, he brought in Tom Cable to coach the offensive line. You could question both of those guys and some of the decisions made at times for offensive line, but nevertheless, like, both those guys were able to turn our offensive line into some guys that weren't, looked at as like going to be great players into pretty good players. Even Colton Miller, we all doubted Colton Miller. Tom Cable turned Colton Miller into a pretty good left tackle. Okay. So, and a lot of that critique that we had back then was correct and accurate, but nevertheless, the point is there were certain guys that when Gruden brought in that were like, had tons of years of experience, where like our offensive line coach now, he had a couple years, it was like 3 years with the Patriots, only 2 years as an offensive line coach. So if you look at it like that, and you break down the rest of the guys that McDaniels brought in, he didn't bring in a bunch of guys that were like highly respected and did years in the NFL. He brought in a bunch of yes men. He was trying to do what Belichick did in the Patriots and what Belichick was trying to do for the Browns. That's what McDaniels was trying to do. So the coaches that they brought in, most of them should not even be in their positions. A lot of them got promoted to positions that they never had no business being in the first place. Shout out to you, Mick Lombardi. That little short crap has no business being offensive coordinator, even if McDaniels is calling the plays. So the point is, this coaching staff got too cute, and they brought in a bunch of coaches that have no business being in some of those coaching positions. And that's a red flag, because you're talking about what could take years of development instead of win now mode. So that really frustrated me from the get-go, when I felt like there was too many yes men that were brought in, not guys that were highly respected, that were going to maybe question Josh McDaniels at times and put us in a better position to win. So, we've seen a huge regression in our offensive line, and I think that falls on the offensive line coach. If Josh McDaniels had brought in somebody that was an actual offensive coordinator that had more years experience than Lombardi, he might question some of the plays and, stir the pot a little bit, and we might get a better production out there. Everybody that's like, well, he can be an offensive coordinator and not, McDaniels can be an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. I agree that he's definitely not head coach material, but I'm not even sure that he's offensive coordinator material. Let me share a story with you guys real quick about the Broncos. Okay. If you go back to the year that the Broncos were really good with Peyton Manning, the year they went to the Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, 2 days before the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning got interviewed. Peyton Manning had said sometimes a play will come in from, at that time, Adam Gase was the offensive coordinator for the Broncos. A play will come in and he'll go like this and pretend like he can't hear the play, because he knew the play would not work. So Peyton Manning was switching the play from the offensive coordinator because he knew that was a shit play and that he was going to pick a play that was going to work. And that's why their team was successful. So if you go back and you ever watch that Super Bowl when the Broncos played the Seattle Seahawks, you'll see like one of the first plays was the safety. It went over Peyton Manning's head, and then Peyton Manning's on the sideline. Peyton Manning, his entire career, was like, when he was on offense, he was always looking at the iPad or the playbook to see like what they did good, what they did wrong, and what they needed to do to move forward for the next set of downs. So he would get with the offensive coordinator and they would devise a game plan. He did that his entire career, except for that one Super Bowl. Why? Because my opinion is that I can't prove. My opinion is because of what Peyton Manning said about the offensive coordinator in that interview a day or 2 days before the Super Bowl. And he said he was switching the plays, meaning he was kind of making the offensive coordinator look like dog shit, right? And so why this is important, because when you have guys that are respected in their fields, like a quarterback, like a Peyton Manning, he didn't need an offensive coordinator. If a guy is really good at what he does, dude, like he should be able to adjust the play to what is best for the team. And when we heard rumors and stuff last year of Derek Carr, as much as I've been critical on Derek Carr, I think that Derek Carr was trying to switch the plays and Josh McDaniels didn't like it. And that's why, that's one of the reasons I think they canned Derek Carr. So my main point is this, is that if you're an offensive coordinator, you might give a play that you might think is going to be the best play, but everything is situational circumstances, guys. Things are situational where you have to have a quarterback, you have to have a team environment where, hey, if that shit's fucked up, you got to switch it on the fly. And if you have a leader that's not willing or going to let you do that, then you're going to fail. And this is why Adam Gase left the Broncos to be a head coach, and he failed. He failed with the Jets, and then I forget where he went after that. But my point is that offensive coordinator looked great because of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning made that offensive coordinator look great. That offensive coordinator did not make Peyton Manning look great. It was Peyton Manning that made the offensive coordinator look great. So when people are like, well, Josh McDaniels won 6 Super Bowls and he's done all this, he did it with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady was probably doing the same thing Peyton Manning was, and he was switching plays. Where now you go to the Raiders, and I don't think Josh McDaniels is the kind of coach that's going to let your quarterback switch things up on the fly. And that's a huge red flag to me. You have to be able, as an offense, you have to be able to adjust to the circumstances at hand to get the best out of your offense. Okay. So it's like a square peg, round hole, right? You can't fit a square peg in a round hole. Now you can take a round peg and fit it in a square hole. Yes. You might have to shove it in there a little bit, but that can happen, but it doesn't mean it's the best fit. So to me, there was a lot of red flags in this coaching staff when they came on board. It was one, the coaches they brought on. Okay. 2, a lot of the personnel decisions they made questioned me, besides the Derek Carr stuff, right? Derek Carr, I think the way they handled it was poor, to say the least. And I'll just leave it at that. But then you look at the Darren Waller, you look at the Hunter Renfrow contract, the Chandler Jones, they made tons of like mistakes, and the whole time they were like, well, these aren't our guys. We got to dump our team. And then you look at the plan, like what was the plan going into this year and their plan long-term? I believe this offseason, Dave Ziegler told us the plan, and I don't think their plan was ever to win now. That's why Josh McDaniels wasn't as fired up as he should have been when they lost and stuff like that. I think their plan was always a 3 to 5 year rebuild plan. And to me, when you look at the team, right, and we look at who you brought on, if we're doing a 3 to 5 year rebuild, guess what? There's no reason to give Darren Waller a contract. There's no reason to give Hunter Renfrow a contract. There was no reason to give Derek Carr a contract. There's no reason, trying to think who else. Devontae Adams. There was no reason to even bring Devontae Adams in. So I think they came in, they were going to get Tom Brady. That thing went south, but they were going to stick with their plan. As Josh McDaniels said, we just got to stay the course, stick with the plan. Well, their plan was dog shit from day one. That was the problem. They should have either done full tank rebuild right off the bat, rip the Band-Aid off, do full rebuild, which I did not want, right? Or 2, you take what you have, you adjust your style as a leader, and you get the best out of your team. That would have been the best case scenario, but they didn't do that. They were like somewhat trying to win now with some of these like all-stars and studs and stuff, win now. And then another part of them was like, oh, well, we need to also do a rebuild at the same time. You can't go 2 directions, guys. It won't work. Their plan was horseshit. It was never going to fucking work. And this was my frustration the entire time, because I seen this bullshit and I seen their 3 to 5 year rebuild, and that 3 to 5 year rebuild does not have Devontae Adams involved at all. They were always, if we would have stuck with this coaching regime, they would have dumped Devontae Adams either after this year or next year. The best wide receiver in the NFL, a guy that's a true Raider. And then if you go back and watch the interview that JT the Brick did, I think it was Silver and Black show, but like one of the first interviews he did where there's like a crowd around and stuff before any games in the offseason after McDaniels was hired, where McDaniels and JT are sitting down at like a on couches or seats, and JT the Brick asks McDaniels again about the Tuck game, and this was probably the first red flag for me in this coach. Josh McDaniels made a joke about the Tuck game. He's like, yeah, it was a fumble. Is that all you got to say? I'm not talking about the first interview with Mark Davis. I'm talking about when he was interviewed with JT the Brick. He made a fucking joke of the Tuck game, and he wasn't sincere and he wasn't honest about it. He was feeding us a load of bullshit from day one, right? And so that let me know, like, to me, guys, here's the deal. I do care who's our coach, but whoever is our coach has to bleed silver and black. They have to understand, not Dave Ziegler that's like getting interviewed and he's just saying it for kicks, that he walks by the Al Davis picture and gives him a high five and he takes all this respect. No, dude, you got to understand what it means to bleed silver and black, the history of this organization and everything involved with what it means to be a Raider. And my question was the entire time, if Josh McDaniels was going to work out to be our coach, was, does this guy know what it means to be a Raider? And if he could figure it out and knew what it means to be a Raider, then he can succeed. But he never made that transition. He was always the square peg in a round hole guy. He couldn't even adjust himself to be a round peg in a square hole. Think about that. He couldn't even adjust himself enough to try to get the best out of this team. That's how you take, like, I made a joke of it in my last video, but that's how you get the best wide receiver or one of the best and one of the best running backs, and you turn them into complete fucking trash. You hire a guy like Josh McDaniels. Look, I love John Gruden. He is a Raider. Now, is there any chance that he comes back? Because I do want to talk about future coaches. I don't know. But here's what I'll say. Besides, you have to know what it means to be a Raider, to be our coach, right? And take and embrace that and bleed silver and black and take great honor with that pride. You also have to be able to adjust to your team and be honest with people. And, the new leadership style is much different than how I grew up. I grew up old school, where if you don't do what I say, I'm going to stick my foot right up your ass, or you meaning like whoever, like me, right? To my boss would be like, kick rocks, you're out of here. That was the old school style. That's how I grew up. But times are different. That shit don't work anymore. Things are just way different. And you can agree or disagree with the new times or whatever. I have my own issues with it, but it's just a different time of age of people. And these younger generation cats, they will straight up tune out and they won't want to fucking work for you. You have to adjust your style to get the best out of your team, meaning you got to be a player's coach. You got to be a player's coach to get the best out of your team. And I'm not sure Gruden is the best fit for that. As much as I love the guy, I'm not sure. Hugh Jackson is a player's coach. That's the other guy I would like to look at, is Hugh Jackson, that never got a fair shake. Maybe we have Champ Kelly, we bring on Hugh Jackson, and I would be all about it because I think Hugh Jackson is a player's coach. But, he's a little bit older too. Maybe we need some young blood, someone that's different that, can, adjust to the players at hand. You as a leader have to adjust who you are to get the best out of your team. Think about that. You as a leader have to adjust who you are to get the best out of your team. And then you'll get players that will go the extra mile for you. This is why Rich Bisaccia did so well, right? And let's look at the, look at the interim coach. I forget his freaking name. I'll pull it up here. But the interim coach, he's a linebacker coach. I've heard him speak before. And, he's a freaking, the interim coach, I've heard him speak, and he's a motivator. He's a player's coach, so like, I'm not saying this guy's going to be the long term, but, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up here. Give me a second. So Champ Kelly is obviously the interim general manager, and I'll say something about that here in a second. And then Antonio Pierce, sorry. So Antonio Pierce is the interim coach. I don't know if he's going to be the long-term solution, but at least the guy's a motivator, right? At least the guy's a motivator. So who's going to be the offensive coordinator? It's probably going to be the dude we brought in. Did he come from the Vikings? It's what's his name's son? Drawing some blanks. Sorry, guys. But it's on the tip of my tongue. But the guy we brought in to be the offensive assistant is probably going to be the offensive coordinator. So that's good. But let me look at my notes here real quick. And then we'll kind of get into your guys' opinions and stuff. We definitely got to have a player's coach, guys. A leader of men. you know. And again, I just think the plan failed because they were in a 3 to 5 year plan and trying to win now. And you got to choose a direction. You can't try to do both. I hope whoever becomes our coach stops this 3 to 5 year plan bullshit and we fucking try to win now. That's what I say. It's sad that this happened this year because we got the Super Bowl in Vegas and we have enough talent. We should be in the running to make a Super Bowl run in Vegas this fucking year. That's the reality. Scheme fit. Let's talk one more thing about Coach McDaniels and something else I said on the radio that, I want to break down. So a lot of people are like, we got to have a franchise quarterback. Some people are like, Aiden O'Connell's not it. Look, one game we can't tell if Aiden O'Connell's it or not it. We can all probably agree on one thing. Jimmy Garoppolo is not it. Jimmy Garoppolo is just not the answer, guys. We're probably going to have to eat that money, but whatever. We ripped the Band-Aid off. We got to figure out what we have in Aiden O'Connell, which sucks because then we might be in kind of a tank now mode or whatever. But Jimmy G, it is, I will say it's hard for me with the offensive line being as shitty as it is right now. And with, I feel, Josh McDaniels hindering quarterbacks from doing their job, like the example I gave with Peyton Manning. Maybe Jimmy G can change the play up and we get more success. I don't know. We'll have to see kind of what their plan is going to be, but we do have to see what we have in Aiden O'Connell. I was against the move on Aiden O'Connell. I wanted Hendon Hooker. If you know me, like I was big on Hendon Hooker, and I was really pissed that we didn't get him. Think about this, guys, right? For their draft picks, that like one of the other things that this coaching staff has said is like, look, because we hired these guys. We went from, hey, we're in a win now mode to then like, hey, these aren't our guys. We got to get our guys, which most coaches do. But they're relying on us the entire time. These aren't our guys. And then we need to go out and get our guys. And the draft picks weren't good enough from John Gruden. That was their excuse. But a lot of the guys that they got rid of, they didn't even give him a chance. When Dave Ziegler was interviewed about the plan and stuff, he's like, we got to stick with the plan. And, a lot of Raider fans, are upset at some of the moves we made in middle of the season last year, meaning they were dumping our fucking team. And when you dump a team, you're going to kill the morale of the team because the rest of the players are going to know you're not in a win now mode, right? A lot of the veterans that want to win now. So it's going to kill your team. And they did it knowingly. And Dave Ziegler said, this is how we got this many draft picks is from what the moves we made during the season last year, meaning dump the team to get more draft picks. But look at some of the decisions they made. One of the defensive tackles they drafted their first year. I know we'd have the first and second round pick because of Devontae Adams, but one of the D tackles was a Neil Farrell Jr. or whatever, got traded for like horse shit fucking draft capital to the Chiefs, an arch rival. And the other D tackle they drafted is on the practice squad. Zamir White. I mean, we have Josh Jacobs. I mean, dude, their decisions they made from day one was extremely fucking questionable. Their plan was questionable from day one is my main point. And fast forward to this year, it's funny because Mark Davis had said something when we were in the second round of the draft, right? We got Tyree Wilson, Michael Mayer in the second round. We traded up to get Michael Mayer. The third round, we got Byron Young. That was our first pick in the third round. And then our second pick in the third round was Trey Tucker, who they drafted way too high, okay? Well, somewhere in the third round, I believe it was, or maybe second round, Mark Davis had said, hey, there's linebackers on the board. What about this guy? I forget who exactly it was. And so Mark Davis, even though Mark Davis said, hey, I don't know enough about football and blah, 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 Mark Davis had pushed the general manager to maybe get a linebacker, and we didn't go that route. So I think Mark Davis had the right intuition. But besides that, think about when we got Byron Young in the third round. And where's Byron Young? I mean, that dude has he even played? Where the hell's Byron Young that we got from Alabama in the third round? 2 picks before we drafted in the third round, the Lions had picked Hendon Hooker. We could have moved up to get Hendon Hooker, and yeah, it would have been a wash probably this year, or Hendon Hooker's probably healthy right about now. We could have kept Jared Stidham, drafted Hendon Hooker, and Hendon Hooker probably could have finished the rest of this year. Think about that. And I told you guys when I did the draft video, I will not forget this fucking moment. Because I knew what was best for the fucking Raiders. And people that doubted me and were hating on me about this coaching staff and give him a shot, dude, there was people that were all over this coach's nuts. And he proved to all of us who he is. Did I want to be right? No, I didn't. I want to come on here and be the guy to say, hey, I'm eating crow. I was wrong. Hey, yay to Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler. But that wasn't the case, guys. That's not what fucking happened. Dude, I got over 10 years in leadership. I saw the bullshit a mile away, because if you're not a leader of men, I don't care how good a game plan you have and how great you are. If you cannot lead a group of men in your vision and your game plan, you will fail. Absolutely, you will fail. So when I saw the experience, because I've seen failures for days in leadership, and I know, because this is what motivated me to be a leader in the first place, was people who were in positions of leadership that failed. Some of it was the Army, yes, and bad leadership. I mean, I had some good leaders to some degree, but a lot of bad leadership. And, when you have bad leaders in the Army, people fucking die. People fucking die. People lose their lives from bad leadership in the Army. And I'm one lucky motherfucker that my number wasn't called, because I was almost fucking waxed a couple times because of bad leadership. So I'll leave that shit right fucking there. So when my number was almost pulled from bad leadership, I made a promise to myself that I will become a leader, and I'll be better than every fucking leader I ever had. And that motivated me to make that fucking drive. And I said, you know what? I might be in a civilian sector where life and death may not be the issue or the situation like it was in the Army, but I will never be a cocksucker piece of shit leader like the motherfuckers that I got dealt with. Fuck no. I'm going to fucking suck it up, drive on, and I'm going to learn how to master this shit to fucking lead people, no matter where they came from, no matter what color they are. None of that shit fucking mattered to me. That I would find something different within a human being that made them spark and made them drive. That's the kind of leader you need. And those people will go to the ends of the earth for you. But you have to be a player's coach. You got to include the team. And if you can't, and you're square peg round hole, it will not work and you will fail. So that 3 to 5 year rebuild bullshit, and Dave Ziegler saying we got to stick to the plan, McDaniels stick to the plan. The plan was horse shit the entire fucking time. And then they should have veered off of it the entire time, dumping our players and all that. We should have drafted Hendon Hooker. And I hate to be the Monday quarterback guy, but it's just the facts, guys. So back to the quarterback situation. Think about this, right? If let's say Aiden O'Connell isn't the guy, we don't know. We got to have more games to see if he's the guy or not. I think there's something in him, but he is more of a pocket passer quarterback, which brings me to the main point. People that want a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or a super stud quarterback, do you guys really think, if you're honest with yourself, that those quarterbacks are going to be a good fit for Josh McDaniels and his scheme? Has Josh McDaniels ever coached or had a mobile quarterback like any of those guys? Has Josh McDaniels and his scheme ever had a guy outside of Cam Newton? And that didn't work out. That was short term. I've never liked Cam, his personality kind of thing. But, he was a mobile quarterback on the end of his career. But if you look at it, Josh, if we got a mobile quarterback, Josh McDaniels' scheme does not fit for a mobile quarterback. It just doesn't. Like, his scheme is for a pocket passer. So anybody that wants a super stud quarterback, right, a Caleb Williams or Drake May or whatever it might be, it would never work in the first place, because Josh McDaniels would not be able and willing to adjust his scheme to fit his players, which is why our offense is struggling in the first place right now. These players gave up on this coach. They had their Rudy moment, dude. They were like, man, no matter what I do, it don't matter, because this coach is not putting us in the best positions to win. Where like a Hugh Jackson back in the day asked Darren McFadden, what kind of plays do you want to run? And then he went out and executed it and did it. And we had Darren McFadden end up being the leading rushing leader that year until he got hurt. That's a player's coach. That's how you get the best out of your team. So for the Raiders, we got to have a coach that's willing to do that, and that bleeds silver and black. And that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to find somebody that's going to, take near and dear what it means to be a Raider, the Al Davis legacy, and take it to heart more than just a Josh McDaniels coming on and, oh yeah, it was a fumble. No, dude, we take that shit to heart, bro. That shit has been embedded in my soul for the last 20 fucking years, because that was a championship the Raiders could have fucking won. That's more than just a fucking joke. And it's more than just the people who are like, 20 years, get over it. No, go fuck yourself. Because I've been struggling and dealing with the same bullshit for over 20 fucking years. And we got robbed. We got straight up robbed. And then they took our coach from us then. And then a couple years ago with John Gruden, they took our coach from us again. The same fucking guy. And so John Gruden never even got a fair shot, guys. I mean, let's be real. Maybe he's a little too old school and his play calling was a little too conservative, but at least the dude loved the Raiders, loves the Raiders, and bleeds silver and black. At least he would do everything he could for this fucking team. And 2 of the drafts that he had was during COVID, and he didn't even get to interview these guys, man. So for everybody that's like wants to bash John Gruden's nuts and like how fucking terrible he did, it wasn't as bad as everybody thought. And he never even, like, the situation was fucked up for him and the general manager. And so we don't even know what fucking could have been. We really don't. So before we just go and we can't cancel culture John Gruden out of the picture, you know, because we don't know what's going to happen with this. What the fuck? Hold on. I don't know if this is real, but I got an update on my phone that says Josh McDaniels was arrested this morning following his release from the Raiders. I don't know if that's fucking real. Do any of you guys know if Josh McDaniels was arrested? It's not low in the video, but let me turn down the brightness. It's from Barstool Sports. I don't usually follow Barstool Sports, but that would be crazy if that's accurate. But I don't know. So I don't want to give false information if that's not accurate. I don't know. I'd be curious to see if there's any legitimacy in that. So, you know, you guys, you know, I hate to be the guy that's like, let's run it back with Hugh Jackson or John Gruden or whatever it might be. But think about it, man. Hugh Jackson loved this team. It was during a year where Al Davis lost his, left this earth. And he failed, but he was also trying to be the general manager and the coach. I just feel like we need somebody that will love this team as much as a Hugh Jackson or a John Gruden. Let me plug in my computer. Hold on. And, take pride in that and do everything they can to get this franchise back on track. And a coach that can, if say, Aiden O'Connell isn't the guy, a coach that's willing to go out, get one of these super studs this draft and be able to coach them up and adjust their style to get the best out of that player. Because that's what we really got to think about, guys. If we're looking at the future of the Raiders, future coaches, we need a coach that's going to get the best out of this, like new quarterback and whatnot. And then, but if we go and we do that and we're not going to get a veteran quarterback kind of, if that's the plan, then what are we going to do with Devontae Adams, guys? We have to consider Devontae Adams. I love Devontae Adams. I love Josh Jacobs. I want both of them to be Raiders. I think we can win a championship with both those guys. But when you think about it, I mean, if we go out, we draft a young stud, even if he's a good quarterback, he's probably not taking us to a championship next year or maybe even the year after. You're talking about 2 to 3 years from now. I don't think we got a 2 to 3 year window with Devontae Adams. His contract, I think, was 5 years. I think it's 2026. But I don't know that Devontae Adams is even going to want to be part of that. So we may have to go veteran or something, you know what I mean? And then that could hurt us as well. So, there's a lot of questions, guys. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. You might be able to get someone that's not top 10 pick that has potential, or maybe top 20 that has potential, and then develop them, kind of deal. But there's a lot to be questionable even on that front. So I'll be honest, we're in a tough spot. And then what are we going to do? The last thing I'll say, and then if anybody wants to roll up in here, what are we going to do the rest of this year? I mean, do we just like hang up the hat and pretty much go to tank to get a quarterback or not care about this year, with the Super Bowl in Vegas? What's going to be the best scenario for the Raiders to win this year? Is it going to be Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell? Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? So what's the plans for this year and the future? Those are some really hard questions that have to be asked. This was step one. This is step one that, oh, okay. Raiders Pete said, Barstool making a joke. Right on. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if I follow them or why that shit popped up, but it kind of threw me off track there. So thanks for confirming that. I'm not big on Barstool Sports, but anyway, so, a lot of questions has to be answered this year and going into next year, guys. I mean, what happens if this thing with John Gruden is going to go real south John Gruden said he's going to expose this. He's not doing this for money. But what if the NFL knows John Gruden's going to blow the lid off all this shit? And they're like, look, we'll just, we'll cancel everything. We'll retract from us trying to cancel culture you, Gruden. You can go back and be the Raiders coach. Raiders are at least in a position, if we want to consider the John Gruden thing again, where we could at least explore it. I know a lot of people probably won't want to go that route. I'm kind of 50-50 or 60-40, I'd say, where 60% of me would want to, have John Gruden. Like, I it's weird, guys, with me and John Gruden, dude. It's not my infinity because of the Chucky thing or whatever. I just feel like he got fucked the first time with the Tuck game. I feel like he got fucked again. And I just want this guy to have his redemption with us, the fucking Raiders, man. I just want him. I just want that fucking chance for him and for us and Raider Nation to fucking make this shit work. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't see Mcdaniels going and giving high fives to the fucking fans and shit, dude, like Gruden was. I know a lot of Gruden is like his persona is bigger than, maybe how good he actually is, but at least he loved and loves this team. And that means something to me, guys. It really fucking does, and I think the players played hard for him. He's a hard-ass coach. He's kind of an old-school style, but at least he got the players to play hard for him. You've heard tons of players like Darren Waller saying like how much he loved John Gruden, Warren Sapp, Derek Carr, so it's not like he was a cancer to the team. Maybe the guys that didn't want to be a Raider, like the Amari Coopers and the Cleo Max, right? Those guys were gone, and I think that was different, people are going to hate on me for saying that about Cleo Mack, but I don't think he wanted to be a Raider anymore. He didn't want to play for John Gruden. There's some facts of that and whatnot, but Cleo Mack, I mean, I don't know, guys. It's kind of fucked up because I know Gruden got rid of Cleo Mack, but both of those guys, I think, were like ready to move on because the move from Oakland to Vegas. I think the move from Oakland to Vegas fucking fucked a lot of guys up on our team. And, there was a lot of hate going around during that era. And so, at the same time, like, I think guys were giving up like Amari Cooper, sorry. You can't blame them. You know what I mean? So, one last thing I want to say about the general manager, right? The interim Champ Bailey. If you go back and you look at some of the interviews that Dave Ziegler and Champ Bailey did during those interviews and stuff, when I watched the interviews, I rewound it several times to watch something. And that was I said this last time. I want to repeat this because this is important. Because the reality is we don't know how many of these picks were Champ Kelly or maybe Dave Ziegler. But when I saw Champ Kelly talking about these players, I saw, and then Dave Ziegler next to him, I saw Champ Kelly as a guy that like knew his shit, like crossed his T's, dotted his I's. He knew a lot about this entire draft class. And when he would talk, I would listen, I would watch his demeanor, and I'm trying to figure out, even though Champ Kelly's the assistant and Dave Ziegler is supposed to be the head guy, I see two guys, and one is the leader and one is not. And when I was trying to look for who, like, you got two guys like peeing on the same fire hydrant, and I looked, to me, Champ Kelly was the leader. Champ Kelly was the leader, and then I saw Dave Ziegler interrupt him and try to talk over Champ Kelly. But when I watched those interviews, I did not look at Dave Ziegler as the guy, as the leader. It was Champ Kelly. Just something weird, man. It's like I just pick up on certain things. To me, when I saw the interview, I'm like, Champ Kelly's actually the guy. Dave Ziegler's pretending to be the guy, but Champ Kelly is the guy. So I say we give Champ Kelly a shot. I really do. And yeah, I know I'm kind of Monday morning quarterback in this, but I did say this before Dave Ziegler got shit canned. But that was just my perception wires were picking up, and I'm like, Champ Kelly's the guy. We don't. If Gruden came back, we don't need Gruden to be general manager. We need Gruden to be the fucking head coach, right? We need someone that's going to contest even Gruden if Gruden were to come back. That's the only way I would want Gruden to come back. Don't let him have the general managing duties, and like with the situation with him and Mayock, where Mayock was maybe more of a yes man. We need somebody that's going to contest John Gruden. And if we can do that, even if they butt heads at times, that's good, because then we'll get the best out of this team. So, all right, that's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to put a link in the chat here, guys. Give me a second. And if anybody wants to join, you guys can turn your camera off if you want. you guys come in, give your opinion, how you guys feel. And then if nobody wants to jump in, I'll try to get in the chat somewhat here. So give me a second. It's a good day in Raider Nation, guys. This is I know some people may not like it to some degree, but we needed this, guys. Now this team can be a team. Now we can move forward. Links in the chat. You guys click that. You want to roll up in here, kind of give your opinion. But now the Raiders can move forward, guys. We can move forward with what we got now, and I think this team will bond together as one unit. I think the cancer was gone, and that was Mcdaniels. So I might just go reverse here and see if anybody wants to roll up in here. But you guys want to roll up and give your opinion for a quick minute, dude? I'll love to have you on here. Gabriel, shout out to you, bro. We had D Menace. Shout out to you, bro. Hopefully you're doing good. Ryan Miller, Jimmy Guns, Milka Beezy. Appreciate all you guys. All right, let's try to read your guys' chat a little bit. He said, talk about Mark Davis repeats the same crap, hiring coach, GM, same time. Buddy deal isn't working. He said, name one team that hired a buddy deal head coach, general manager, same time, and won a Super Bowl. That's a good point. But that's why I'm saying, it possibly could work with if they wanted to do the Gruden thing with Champ Kelly. I think I said Bailey, but sorry. Champ Kelly. Ryan Miller said, didn't Tim Brown say after the Tuck game in the locker room, Gruden told the team they're never going to let you guys win here? He did say something along those lines. Yeah, facts. Facts, man. Jimmy said, all this means Carr will 100% retire as a Raider now. He could, man. He could, bro. A coach and GM being buddy is more of a con than a pro. I agree. He said, fuck the Patriot way. Fuck those who supported McDaniels. It's a good day in Raider Nation, brother. J-Dog, what up? He realized Brady made them. Yeah, facts, man. Raider Pete, salute. Got Raider Critique in the house. Let's see if I can add him. It's kind of white. There we go. What up, brother?
Yeah. Finally, man. Hey,
Yeah.
well, I went to bed at midnight. As soon as the news dropped, I was literally just getting down into my skivvies to come find out that they actually pulled the trigger. And I think they actually put the right dude in charge, man. Hey, great times are coming. Now you got some real far catches over there, like real far takes when it comes to John Gruden coming back, but I would love that. And more, yeah, I would definitely love that. Just for the simple fact we could, yes, we don't have the same players here anymore, but the guys that were still here when he was here, they'll buy right back in. And I think,
good.
I think Devontae will too.
Well, and shout out to Mark Davis for doing this. It took some balls, man, for him to do this. Because he had to humble himself, admit he was wrong. So I'm going to ask you this, all right? Mark Davis came out. This is something I've been thinking about. I don't have an exact answer or opinion of it, but Mark Davis, has said that he doesn't know football and that he needs guys in place to make those decisions. Do you think Mark Davis should have more of a hand in the decisions being made by the general manager and head coach moving forward?
I think he probably should get the right people in place to where he doesn't have to do as much hands-on, because he's not a football guy. He
hasn't done any hands-on, you know what I'm saying, at all. And I'm saying maybe he should. Maybe he should double check with them. Hey, who are you going to draft? What are you thinking about? Why you like them? And I'm not saying we don't know that he isn't, but instead of him just washing his hands completely clean, maybe he needs to get his hands a little fucking dirty, because him washing his hands clean hasn't worked at all. Maybe you should question some of these guys a little bit, whoever he brings in.
The dude needs to crack open a book called Football for Dummies and get himself acclimated to what his job is supposed to entail. Literally. He's got to do at least a little bit of research or something. And if he is saying something, good for him. I think this is a huge step for Mark, because I was questioning why he would not fire this dude publicly when he was real quick to do it to Jack Del Rio. You know what I mean? Like, he was real quick to do it, Jack Del Rio, but he was very reluctant to do this. I was even skeptical. I thought they had something on him, but I think these dudes finally got a little bit of his dad in him.
I hate to do the tinfoil hat theory, but isn't Gruden's court case coming up in November or early November or something like that?
I haven't heard any more news about it, but I know it's supposed to be coming up soon.
Yeah, for the Supreme Court or something. And, you know, I'm not convinced that the Supreme Court is going to do the right thing, but, you know, we don't know. So it's just weird that the court case is still ongoing, and we get rid of this coach, which I think and the Gruden thing is to be determined with the NFL. And all Gruden wants is to come back to the NFL. And there's no better team than the Raiders. It's far-fetched because, like, to me, I think that ship has sailed. But at the same time, this thing happened mid-season. You never know. You never know.
Right. I mean, anything is possible. But if we're not going to go and reach for somebody like that, I'm still all about Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores deserves another shot at a head coaching position, and he would fit well here.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Let's say John Gruden in the NFL works something out where the NFL is like, yeah, we'll let you back in the NFL and you could be a head coach. Is there any team, whether they need a coach or not, is there any team that you think would be a good fit for John Gruden or that would even hire John Gruden, you know, as their head coach?
No, only us. If he's coming back,
that's how I did that. What's that?
If he's going to come back, he's got to come back to us, dude. He doesn't need to go to Tampa. He doesn't need to go and venture off and try to do any other jobs. It's just like you said, you know, it's a storybook ending, and it's a storybook ending that I would actually like to read, where he finally succeeds with us after being pretty much jettisoned 2 times. So yeah. I think it would be bittersweet. Absolutely, it would be bittersweet, and I hope the NFL is doing something like this because John Gruden's going to win that case if it goes through. There's too much compelling evidence, bro.
Yeah. Well, Warren Sapp said that John Gruden's been grinding, working on like, you know, looking at teams and, you know, offensive, you know, playbook and stuff. So he's doing work behind the scenes, you know, which he needs to do because the first, you know, that last stint with us was not good enough. He was way too conservative at times, but, you know.
He did play to his players' strengths, though.
He did, yeah.
Which was unlike this guy that we just had, who it was his way or the highway. I'm glad they sent him up the highway, and they took Dolph Ziggler with them. So I never liked neither one of those guys, man. Never liked the hires, and I'm glad they're gone. Now at least we can heal as a fan base, and we can all get on the same page now.
Right.
And that is
so let me ask you, yeah, a lot of respect to Mark Davis, man. So what do you think for the rest of this year? What do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you want to happen, and what do you think is best for the team for this year?
Well, I want to keep my players' morale up, so we're going to have to get a couple more wins. Especially, I want to keep Devontae happy, you know, but I would really like a top 3 pick in the draft. I really would. But in order to do that, we got to really suck. And if we do that, I mean, it really all depends on how the fan base is going to take it. But I think we're all going to take it really well, even if we do end up losing a lot more than we win the rest of this season, just for the simple fact that we know that we don't have to worry about drafting a rookie quarterback and then leaving the responsibility to Josh McDaniels to get him prepared. So anybody's better than Josh McDaniels at this point.
Right. So what do you think about Aiden O'Connell or Jimmy G? What do you think we should do?
Jimmy G needs to get the start, bro. Jimmy G needs to retire and walk off into the sunset. Give AOC the ball and let's see what he can do.
Do you think there's any chance that Aiden O'Connell could take us to the playoffs?
I don't know. Haven't seen enough of him yet, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm throwing you some curveballs. I know it's a lot to digest right off the bat, or like, you know, in a very short time because all this is so sudden. But
if we were to go to the playoffs with Aiden O'Connell, that would be miraculous. It would be the second time in 3 years that we took an interim coach and went to the playoffs. That's got to be history right there. If that works out, you know what I mean? Is AOC good enough? I don't know yet. But I would like to believe that maybe this coaching regime did get at least one of these guys right. Because you and I were, when they drafted Trey Tucker over Hendon Hooker, I know you were just as hurt as I was.
Yeah, well, it was Byron. Hold on, you're right, but it was Byron Young. We had two third-round picks. The first third-round pick was Byron Young, defensive tackle from Alabama, and then the other pick in the third round was Trey Tucker, and that was towards the end of the third round.
Yeah, but wasn't he still available?
No, so our pick when we picked Hendon Hooker, when we picked Byron Young, I think we picked like 70 or 72 or something like that. Anyways, when we made that pick, Hendon Hooker got taken 2 picks before us to the Lions, 2 or 3 picks before us.
I mean, and what has Byron Young done? Nothing.
Dude, I mean, yeah.
I haven't seen him. But anyway,
we've drafted 3 defensive tackles in 2 years, bro.
Right.
Yeah, and one of them's not even on our team. We traded him to the Chiefs.
Yeah. Unreal, dude. We've never traded any of our players with the opposition like that.
Actually, no, I take that back. 4. We drafted 4 defensive tackles because we got Nesta Jade Severa in the 7th round. So we have Nesta Jade.
He's playing, but he can't stay healthy. But it'll be all right. This is the right step. This is the step we needed to make. So I'm going to be optimistic, man. For the first time since we've gone to the playoffs, I'm going to be optimistic. We're going to be all right.
Me too, bro. Me too. And as Jimmy Gunn said, Derek Carr, you never know. He might end up retiring the Raiders somehow. So, this was kind of the first step. So,
hey, Mark Davis told Derek he'd be back. I just don't know if he'll be back to play. But, hey, in order to start righting some of these wrongs, this is a very good step. Anyway, Raider Nation, I got to go, man. I got to go clean these rich people's swimming pools. I'll holler at y'all later. Thanks, Hardcore, for having me on, bro.
All right. Much love, bro. Go Raiders.
Raiders, hell yeah, baby.
All right. So shots Raider critique, man. All right. Get into some of your guys. If you guys want to say anything in the chat, I don't know how much I'll be able to scroll up. So if you want to type something new, let me know. Get through this, and then I'm going to head out. I still got work today. I just wanted to come on live for a hot minute, dude. But I said, so Raider Pete, Shotzi said, I need to see it. But Mark Davis was quoted saying, I don't want the Patriot way. I wanted the Brady way. What a finish to that regime. Yeah. No, well, that's what I was saying. I think the game plan was, I think McDaniels and, from the beginning, I don't know if you saw earlier, but I think the entire time, I think what Mark Davis was presented with is that you get McDaniels, Ziegler, and you get Tom Brady. And then Tom Brady didn't come. And then, and I think that's why they were pushing 2 directions that were like working against each other. One was rebuild 3 to 5 years, and the other win now mode. And you can't do both, guys. You can't. You got to make a game plan and work towards it. Their game plan was never going to work long term, in the long or short term, in my opinion. But yeah, I said. So you're saying Gruden swings by to install an offense between court dates? Just playing. I mean, you never know, man. I mean, it'd be crazy. I mean, there was times I was disappointed with Gruden. I loved Gruden, but there were some of his offensive play calling was too old school. He got too conservative. So but part of that was on Derek Carr. Derek Carr was throwing ducks, man, and throwing the balls away sometimes on third downs and silly stuff. I know the Derek Carr supporters aren't going to like that, but Derek Carr threw a lot of interceptions, and there was a lot of questionable things on Derek Carr as well. It wasn't like Gruden had an all-star quarterback. So at 9 a.m. Pacific time, Raiders have a press conference. So that's here in about almost like 20 minutes. So I'll be thanks for that, Gabriel. Appreciate you, bro. I said Gruden for head coach. We need offensive coordinator that can be creative, but not do trick plays. Yeah, no, I agree. If we bring in Gruden, I didn't like Greg Olson as offensive coordinator, guys. I've never liked Greg Olson. He's too much of a yes man. We need somebody that's gonna, maybe ruffle the feathers a little bit and get the best out of this team for offensive coordinator, and even question John Gruden. You know what I mean? So. Reported, Michael said AOC will be the starter. Yeah, I kind of saw something about that, but thanks for bringing that up. The intern coach wins, keep him. So Hooker's injuries give Champ Kelly wiggle room to deal with Lions. Just snowballing ideas. Hey, that's a good point. You never know. I mean, I'd have to. Okay, so if the Raiders were to get Hendon Hooker from the Lions. Obviously, it depends on like what we'd have to give up to go get Hendon Hooker. But the main thing I'd have to look at, and I'll look at this, I'll do some research on this. I'll have to go and look at the contract from Jared Goff and see if it's even possible, guys. I'd have to see what because I know Jared Goff's contract's coming up. I can't remember if it's this year or next year. But if he's still doing well, maybe the Lions are willing to move on from Hendon Hooker. But you got to think they traded a third round. We may have to trade a second round. But if we could get Hendon Hooker for a second round draft pick this upcoming year, maybe we give him a second and a fifth. You know what I mean? I'd be willing to do that. Maybe not a fifth this year, do a second this year, a fifth round the following year. And you can possibly get a fucking franchise quarterback. Go do it today. Like, seriously, go do it today. Trade him Aiden O'Connell, too. I don't even care. We should have got Hendon Hooker from the get-go, guys. And I told you guys I would not forget that moment. I wasn't fucking joking. And here we are wondering about the quarterback and all that other stuff. Hendon Hooker's probably like 100% healthy or 90, 95% healthy right now, guys. He could have been starting for us right now. So kind of funny, right? Kind of funny. I was right again, but whatever. Otis, shout out to you. Said Scooby-Doo and the gang unmasked this villain McNugget. That's funny. Raider 7528, man. Said Daniels did one thing right. Got rid of Carr. I was ready to move on, bro. I know how you feel about it, but yeah, shout out to you, bro. Hopefully you're doing good. Ain't seen you in a minute. Sean Athletics Raider Nation, what is up, bro? Ain't seen you in a hot minute either. He said, what's up, hardcore? Good to see you doing your you doing a love, brother? Or you thinking it live? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well too, bro. Good to see you in here. One of the OGs. Big Tone 209. What up? What up? He said Carr was throwing the ball away, fourth down. When I saw that, I wasn't a Carr fan anymore. I'm not gonna disagree with you, bro. So, it was frustrating, man. It really was. Some of the decisions Carr made at times. So, so the point is, like with my Gruden take or whatever, if Gruden got a different quarterback, we don't know, guys. We don't know. We don't know when Gruden, the Raiders were struggling. We don't know how much of it was Carr or Gruden. It could been a combination of both. But if Gruden had a better quarterback, I mean, you never know. So. Raider Pete said if the Lions beef up in the draft free agency like Philly, they should trade Hendon Hooker or Hendon. Stabler ran his plays. Yeah, facts, Raider way. And if Gruden was to come back, he's got to change to be more modern. Otherwise I don't know that it would work. As much as I love the guy, he's got to do something a little more modern with the modern era of young cats. So Raider Pete said Hugh Jackson did say the only job he would take is with us, the Raiders. Yep, I remember that. And that's, a good point because, I did like Hugh, man. Hugh was the only coach I liked between John Gruden and when Hugh Jackson was hired. I didn't like any of the other coaches. So Hugh Jackson was the first coach I liked on Gruden's first stint. So appreciate Raider Jesse 24. All right, I'm going reverse order because it's just easier. All right, Jimmy Gunn said the O-line needs to step up. We have offensive weapons to make it happen. Give our guy time in the pocket. Yep, facts. Yep, and you know what? Part of that O-line is the offensive line coach. Something happened, and it's not just the Van Roten guy that we traded for Alex Bars. Something happened from the scheme fit or the blocking scheme or something from last year to this year. We went from having the number one rushing leader to all of a sudden now the offensive line can't block a nosebleed, guys. What in the world is going on? It's not just that the other teams are stacking the box. Something had changed dramatically. Honestly, I don't think Mcdaniels cared about winning now or Ziegler. I think their plan was this 3 to 5 year plan, and it pissed off guys like Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, because real ones recognize real ones, right? And I think Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs seen this horseshit plan and that they weren't going to be involved in this plan and the long-term growth of the Raiders, and they had an issue with it, and they were speaking out about it, but they knew also if they spoke up that they were probably going to get fucking cancel cultured. So, they were trying to reserve their tongue and give in like kind of beat around the bush methods. This is why Devontae Adams said, I don't, in the offseason, right? Devontae Adams, like, I don't agree with the direction the Raiders are going. Devontae Adams saw the horseshit plan the entire time. And, I feel like I did too. Some of us out there do. We were trying to warn that this was going to happen. But, I don't want to be the I told you so guy, even though worst case scenario came true, at least this, guys, right? at least these coaches did not dump our team before the trade deadline. That was my biggest fear. I will say that. I forgot to say that earlier. My biggest fear was trade deadline come, Raiders not doing good, and then they start getting rid of all of our players to get more draft picks, and then we're just extending this rebuild to even take even longer and, losing all of our talent. At least they didn't do that. I'm even glad we have Hunter Renfrow. Now we can have a coach come in that can utilize Hunter Renfrow the right way and respect him, and we'll get more out of Hunter Renfrow as well. These guys, dude, when there's that disconnect and the quarterback overthrowing the ball and all that, dude, that's more than just player execution. These guys weren't wanting to play for this coach. These guys weren't wanting to go the extra mile for this coach. It was time to move on. So these players will play for someone that gives a shit about them, and they'll go the extra mile for that guy. That's what we need, guys. We need somebody that can be that kind of leader. Jimmy Gunn said a new GM is definitely going to want to hire his own QB unless AOC is everything people on the inside was saying about him. Kid might rock out with a regular playbook. He might, dude. We gotta explore that option. I do agree. We got to see what we have in Aiden O'Connell, especially before this draft. Raider Pete said not making a move before the deadline was the final straw, perhaps. Oh, you mean like not getting anybody? Yeah, I did want us to get some guys, right? But at least we didn't get rid of anybody. That was a huge plus as well, man. Ziegler finally held accountable. Facts, man. Raider 7528, number one priority GM. He said we need a GM, but we don't know we have in Champ Kelly, dude. Champ Kelly might be the guy, guys. We might have the guy in our room right now. Like I said, it's like when they did the interviews and we had Ziegler and Champ Kelly getting interviewed during the offseason and about the draft. To me, the leader in between those two guys was Champ Kelly the entire time. And we don't know, like, some of these bad draft picks could have been on Dave Ziegler. So for me, guys, like, I would like to give Champ Kelly a shot, guys. There's something about him I like about him, guys. I like to give him a shot. Milko Beasley said, I think Aiden O'Connell is a solid backup, but we need to draft our guy. It could be, bro. Could be, man. Wonder what I mean. Part of it, okay. Part of this is scheme, right? Whoever the offensive coach is going to be, what is the scheme? What's the game plan? Can whoever the head coach and the offensive coordinator is going to be for the Raiders, right? Are they going to be able and willing to have a mobile style quarterback, a more modern quarterback, and get the best out of that player and change their playbook up for that style of quarterback? Now, if it's a coach that wants a mobile quarterback and that will scheme for a mobile quarterback, then yes, absolutely, we need to draft a different guy because Aiden O'Connell is not that guy. If it's a coach that wants a pocket passer like Josh McDaniels did, and like maybe John Gruden might want, then Aiden O'Connell is that kind of quarterback. You know what I mean? So really, a lot of this, guys, depends on scheme fit. What is the nuts and bolts, the foundation philosophy of what the offensive coordinator and the head coach going to be as far as the offense goes? Once we figure out what their philosophy is and what they want in an offense, then we can figure out whether it's Aiden O'Connell or if it's going to be somebody we draft. We got to figure that out, because otherwise it's square peg round hole bullshit, and that won't work. So, and this is why I think McDaniels didn't and Ziegler didn't draft Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is a mobile quarterback, which is why I wanted him, because he's got talent. I think he could be a super stud, but we had a coach whose scheme wasn't for that style of quarterback. So they went out and got Aiden O'Connell. I wonder what Ozzy and Dustin's narrative would be now. Those guys are fucking clowns. I'm not even going to mention them in my fucking. They don't like I don't know if I told you this, guys. I lost so much respect in Raider Nation this offseason and YouTube content creators. I've unsubscribed to tons of people, and there's very few people I still rock with or have any fucking respect for after this offseason and the clown shit people were fucking saying. So no, those guys don't get the time of day from me. They can fucking eat a dick. So, anyways, but yeah, shout out to critique. I said Bo Harding, New England assistant, and new offensive coordinator needs to be Scott Turner. New England assistant. I mean, I'm cool for Scott Turner. That's Norv Turner's like son, I believe. I'd like to see Scott Turner be the offensive coordinator for now. But anybody from New England needs to fucking get the fuck out of here, man. Almost anybody from New England needs to get out of here. All right, guys, I got to wrap it up here. Sorry if I didn't get to more comments. any last things you guys want to say, let me know, and I'll get through them as we're wrapping up here. So let Pierce cook. O-line coach Priscilla, is that something? Perhaps. Said Gruden could be a consultant. Let a fresh mind call the plays. That's what he should be, man. He doesn't need to be the offensive coordinator, man. Southside Raider in the house. What up? He said, I don't see how you don't have 5,000 subs. This channel's fire. All truth, no BS, and no holds barred. Appreciate that, bro. Much love. I don't even ask for subscriptions a lot of times, guys. So if you could give me a sub, appreciate it. Hit the like button. That'd be awesome. No, don't say this. We need to trade for Kyler Murray this offseason. No, bro. I do not want Kyler Murray, dude. That's a huge mistake. I love you, Raiders 7528, but there's no way in hell I'd ever want that dude on my fucking Raiders. But that's just me, man. That dude's a cancer. He's all about himself, dude. His attitude and what he's, he might have talent, but I don't care. He's too short, and I've no fucking want for that kind of fucking dude. So, all right. So it's like the season is just beginning. It is, man. It's a huge weight off the shoulders, dude. It's like 1,000 pounds lifted, dude. I just feel like refreshed. I'm fucking happy as hell, guys. I am. I'm not gonna lie, and not because I wanted to be right and like, oh, I'm right, you guys are wrong. No, because this is what's going to be best for the organization moving forward, so we can win a championship. Those guys had to go, guys. Their plan was never going to work. Their vision, they're not players, coaches. They could not get the best out of this team. To have this much talent on the offense and to fail this bad is utterly like one of the biggest, if not the biggest failure in NFL history, guys, especially for a guy that's supposed to be an offensive guru, a 6-time Super Bowl winning coach. So Davis chose to eat 40 mil to fire him. Yeah, facts. That's what I'm saying. Got to give a lot of respect to Mark Davis, guys. As much as we've all clowned on him, hated on him, said he needed to sell the team at that time, and we're pissed. We give him some fucking respect, guys. He took balls for what he did. And so I'm going to respect the hell out of that. I said I would pull up your show, but I'm at work. Appreciate that, Raphael. I'm going to be but yeah, you're listening. I'll be wrapping up here shortly anyway. So Pierce knows players. He was a great one. He'll listen to his players. He's a player's coach. He's a motivator, bro. That's what I was trying to say in the beginning is like, I've heard him speak, and he just seems like, he just seems like a guy you want to go out and battle for. You know what I mean? So I said, we need a leader of men that truly understands football with blood, sweat, and tears. Facts. Champ Kelly needs to be permanent GM. I like that. We got to give him a shot, guys. I really feel like we got to give him a shot. So Champ Kelly was in the front runner when he interviewed for Raiders GM job. Brady for general manager, let Mr. Rings take the wheel. I don't know about Brady for GM. That's a whole different hat to wear than, I'd rather have someone like Champ Kelly that has some experience. You know what I mean? Let's see what Pierce can do. No more expatriates coaching staff. I appreciate you, Raider Critique. Said, great show. Thanks, everyone, hearing my dumbass Raiders. Good times coming. Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate you for coming on, Raider Critique. Said, Bengals DC for head coordinator. Jimmy Guns, just win, baby. Scott Turner. I heard Turner and Hargrave. Not sure who has the job. Lots 3 tonight. Yeah, guys, man. I'm applying for offensive coach or offensive coordinator. I mean, he's more focused on gaming than football. Yeah, facts, Big Tone. Yeah, you talking about Kyler Murray? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Norv was a great OC. His son knows a lot. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I'm sure Norv taught him a lot too. So, I'd be okay with rocking with Norv Turner's son, guys, Scott Turner. So, Josh McDaniels has never offensive guru. Yeah, guys. All right, man. I'm going to wrap up here. Appreciate you guys, man. Just remember, man, I know a lot of like crazy stuff to digest today, but if we rip the Band-Aid off, we can take a step forward in the right direction. Hopefully the Raiders make the best move moving forward. We'll see what that move is going to be. And as always, man, go Raiders. Appreciate you guys. Good day in Raider Nation. glad the cancer's gone. Now we can play some real fucking football with this talent, right? Now we can play some real football with this talent, get this team motivated, who will want to play for a coach, right? And play for each other. And that's all we need, guys. All we need is a chance. And, I don't want to tank. I know some Raider fans are going to want to tank. I don't want to tank. The Super Bowl's in Vegas this year. I still want to go out and try to win and try to make the playoffs. It might make it more of a long shot now, but if you look at our offensive production, maybe it doesn't, guys. So you never know any given Sunday. So we'll see how this thing goes down. But if we are going to tank, fuck it. If we're going to go the tank direction, then at this point, I don't even care. I care to some degree, but if the best thing for the Raiders is going to be to get an all-star quarterback, then so be it. The best thing for the Raiders is going to be to make the playoffs this year, and we continue to grow with what we have. And then maybe we get a guy like Hendon Hooker or draft a guy that's not as highly touted, because there's going to be some good quarterbacks that aren't going to be the top 3 taken, right? Then, maybe explore that route as well. Got to remember, Hendon Hooker was the 4th quarterback taken. Or let me count. So Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, actually the 5th quarterback taken, Hendon Hooker. And that guy, I think, is going to be a super stud. The Raiders fucked up by not drafting my guy, Hendon Hooker. I pounded the table as hard as I could to where people didn't even want to listen to me anymore. And here we are in a situation asking about the quarterback position, and we could have had Hendon Hooker the entire time without leveraging our entire future to get a super stud quarterback. And now maybe the Raiders will get their head out of their ass and go fucking trade the Lions for Hendon Hooker. I don't know what it would take, but at this point, I don't care. Go get a guy that can be a stud for our franchise and a guy that can be a leader of men, and Hendon Hooker has that. I would like to see still what we got in Aiden O'Connell, but you know what? To me, I'm not giving up on maybe a hope for Hendon Hooker, but if they don't go that direction and we got to go draft a guy, then so be it as well, right? Going with the veteran option for Devontae Adams, maybe that's the best thing. But I'd like to, figure out what we got in Hendon Hooker. I don't know if they could trade for him mid-season, but that'd be pretty awesome. I know he probably wouldn't be able to learn the playbook that fast or whatever, but you never know, guys. You never know. Trade the Lions, Aiden O'Connell, give us Hendon Hooker. We'll give you some draft picks. Let's figure this out. And then we just start champing along, moving forward, guys. All right, man, I'm going to bounce out of here. Appreciate you guys. Much love, respect. Leave a comment in the chat who you guys would want for head coach, who you guys would want for quarterback, the plan for the Raiders this year and moving forward. And I appreciate it. Much love. There's only one nation. That's Raider Nation. Hark Raider out.